Thank you, Zimbabwe, for tuning into yet another informative edition of your program. This is Agricultural New Directions, Agribusiness, in support of Vision 2030. Today, we want to look at livestock production. And to do this, we're coming to you from Duneside Farm that is being owned by Mark Hook, where he undertakes various agricultural projects. Today, we want to look at what they are doing here at Duneside Farm to ensure that they remain in business. Mark, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Watson. Thank you for coming out.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
As we get into this first segment, Mark, a brief introduction or history of these heifers that we have in this section.
Watson and I, we bought these heifers in because we were badly burnt out with fires. So the calves were losing condition, so that affects their growth, and it actually affects their fertility also if they get stunted when they're very young. So the cheapest way we can look after them and not put too much pressure on the cows is to bring the calves in, wean them early. So the average age here of weaning is 4 months old.
Okay.
So we wean them at 4 months old. We make a calf meal here. So there's no urea in the calf meal, it's high protein. So we make a calf meal on the farm, and then we bring the weaners in. There are 4 late weaners that have been in here because their mothers are also battling. So you can see about 4 or 5 small weaners here that are showing lots of ribs. That's how they all came in. They all came in showing lots of ribs. So we give them 2 kgs of our own weaner meal a day, and then they have access to hay, as much hay as they want. But it's really to stop them deteriorating and to stop the cows deteriorating.
Okay.
So we can get the cows in better condition so that they fall pregnant, and we can grow out the weaners properly so that we don't affect their fertility.
Now, Mark, off camera, you were talking to me with regards to the hard work and the investment that you had to put in. Looking at the state that we now have these winners, they look very beautiful, shiny hide, well fed. But you were saying that this has not always been the case. Before this, you had to put in some work. What was it like for you? And also, I want you to incorporate the dangers of veld fires and how they affect livestock farmers in Zimbabwe.
Yeah. Veld fires, Wads and I, are the detriment of the whole country. They greatly affect fertility. If I haven't got it wrong, I think the average pregnancy rate in Zimbabwe across all, from commercial farmers to all the communal farmers, rural areas, I think it's around about 40%. So it should really be, if you want to start making a profit, I would say in the communal areas you really want to be 65-70%. And then in the commercial areas, you really want to be like 85%.
Okay.
Because you've got a lot of overheads. So the whole thing about pregnancy and getting a cow pregnant, that is, she has to be in good condition. To get into good condition, she has to have food. But the nation's been burnt all the time. The nation's been burnt. The cows haven't got enough food, and that's why we have such a poor pregnancy rate. Because we just destroy our cheapest source of food, which is the veld. Now,
Mark, looking at the age that we have at the moment, roughly how many months and average weight, what is it like at the moment?
So these are all young animals. So they're weaned at about 4 months. So they're probably now about 6 months old. But the average weight is probably only about 140 kilograms. But the trick for us towards and I is to get them pregnant when they're 2 years old.
Oh, okay.
To get them pregnant. So from 140 by next November when we bull them, they've got to get to 260 or 280.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So through this rainy season, they've got to put on, we hope, about 100 kgs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when we have disasters like veld fires and that, we have to look after them plus the mother. I mean, out there you can see all the wheat straw that we've had to bale.
The hay bales.
Yeah, we hammer mill in, which is expensive. We hammer mill in, we mix our own food, and that's what the veld fires are costing the farmer. There's a lot of investment to keep the animals in condition to fall pregnant.
What sort of diseases are you battling with at the moment? How are you taking care of them? How are you curbing the risks that might come with these diseases, insect pests, infestation? What are you doing at the moment? The kind of chemicals that you would recommend to Zimbabwean farmers who are taking care of winners that are headed towards maybe getting into bulling?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm actually going to go back one.
Okay.
So what we do is we deworm the calves at about 3 months old.
Oh.
So our cows we do not deworm. They can handle the worms on their own. So those cows are now going to have worm eggs in them, in their dung. And now the calves really don't do well when they're infested with worms. So we'll deworm the calves at 3 months old and then again at weaning. So to treat for ringworm, we inject with ivermectin, or you can buy an iodine solution and you've got to put it on for 3 or 4 days on the actual ringworm. It's not a major economic problem. It just irritates that calf. You saw that calf rubbing, and we think it affects some of the potential for growth because it's rubbing, it's not happy. So we just treat for ringworm. Yeah.
Just to those who are watching with regards to cattle management, mainly at this age, your recommendations to them with regards to taking care of cattle at this age, what they need to do, the type of infrastructure that they need to invest in, their management style, just speaking from a seasoned cattleman.
So what I would say is just look at the condition of your animals. I've been to a lot of farms, especially the new commercial farmers, and they spend so much money on infrastructure.
Exactly.
The lovely new gates and lovely new fences, and you can see this infrastructure is terrible. So we would rather put our finances into making sure that the animal produces for us.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what I would encourage the new farmers to do, is please make sure your animals are all good.
Thank you so much, Mark, for that. On that note, viewers, we've come to the end of the first segment, as Mark was emphasizing on the importance of focusing on the cow itself, so that at the end of the day, you are making a living and profits off of your venture. Yes, infrastructure is important, but your main focus should on making sure that the cow is healthy ahead of marketing it. We're going to go on a short commercial break. We'll be right back with this and more in the second segment. Stay tuned. Thank you, farmers, for staying tuned to Agricultural New Directions, Agribusiness, in support of Vision 2030. Earlier on the previous break, we were looking at the winners section and even a bit of their feeding regimen, what they were doing with the wheat straw to make sure that it is palatable and digested with the cattle. Now, viewers, encourage you to be a part of these conversations. Feel free to get in touch with the producer, Wadzanai Manyore, so 0772807506. Alternatively, you can like our Facebook page, Agribusiness with Wadzanai. Make a follow-up on this episode and more, and leave your comments and suggestions. They are most welcome to us. Our YouTube channel is Agribusiness with Wadzanai. We're also now available on X, formerly known as Twitter. It's at Agribusiness110. We have a thriving, growing community where most of these discussions do take place. Our LinkedIn profile is at Wadzanai Manyore. We are now here in the second segment. Mark, thank you so much for joining us once again.
Pleasure, Wadzanai.
Now from the winners section, we are in this section where we are standing, where the cattle are grazing freely. A brief history of what we are looking at, the various breeds that we have, and even the ages. Just what you want our audience to know.
Yeah. Wadzanai, these are what we call the first calvers. So they were bred last year in sort of December. They're 2022, so this December they're going to be 3 years old.
Oh, okay.
So we like to get them to calve at 3 years old. They're just a bit maturer, and with our harsh Zimbabwe grasses and environment, they only really reach a weight of about 280 kgs when they're 2 years old. Then we breed them. Now you've seen the results here. So,
okay.
So these are the 2022 heifers. We have Boron, we have Beefmaster, and we have some Incorni, which we've just been started in Corny. But what I'd like the breeders to realize is these first calvers are only 70% of their mature body weight. So they're only going to finish maturing at about 5 years old.
Okay.
So these heifers are brought onto these green grass and green pastures so that they can recover obviously from the birth. We like to keep them close because they're first calvers. So there's 3 or 4 in here that actually haven't calved yet, but we've got them close so we can look at them twice a day. And what we're trying to do is they must keep growing, they must give us a good weaner, and they must fall pregnant.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a hard task we're asking them. So we want them to give us a calf every year. To do that, we have to make sure that their nutrition is correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and with the dry grass and dry felt and everything dry out there, we're bringing them onto these green pastures until hopefully we get some rains within the next month or so. And then when we do our bulling season, we're going to put our first calvers and our second calvers, because they're still growing.
Okay.
They're probably about 85% of their mature body weight. So our first calvers and our second calvers, we'll keep them on one group. And if we're not happy with the rains and not happy with the conditions, we'll also give them a bit of help.
Okay.
Because we want a calf every year. So your profit is made by the cows falling pregnant and you getting a good pregnancy diagnosis and you getting nice, big, strong weaners.
Okay.
That's sort of where your profit is made.
Now, Mark, you highlighted that we have around 3 breeds on this head, the Nkuni, the Boran, and the Beefmaster. Are there any attributes or characteristics that stand out within each breed that you might want to highlight based on your observation having this cattle on your farm? Is there anything that you might want to say the Boran is like this whilst the Nkuni is like this? Are there any major differences that you might want to highlight?
Yeah. So, Wads and I, we started with Beefmaster. They're very good in the feedlots. When we had the low-may contracts, you had to have a certain size of carcass quality. So the Beefmaster are very, very good in the feed pens, and they can give you a bigger carcass. But then we moved into Boron. They're very, very hard. They're easy to herd. So we herd them, just between all the farmers' crops and everything. So they're very, very easy to herd. They're just docile, easy to handle, still give you a very good carcass.
Not temperamental?
No. The odd cow, when they have calves, you got to watch out.
Okay.
When they have a young calf, you got to be careful. And then the Nkoni, we've only been in the Nkoni for about 6 years. And what we like about them is they just don't die. I don't know what it is. But I think our death rate with the Nkoni is maybe 1 or 2% a year. So, So the Nkoni, we like them. They're a medium-sized indigenous breed. So our Mashonas are our smallest, Nkoni in the middle, and then our Tuli are the biggest.
Okay, now looking at crossbreeding, what has it been like for you? Do you encourage it? Do you think it's good? Because I understand that at times when they meet in the pastures, there might be cross-mating there. What have you seen? What are your sentiments, your views with regards to crossbreeding? What has it been like for you here at Dunside Farm?
So, like you say, we all have mistakes. Odds and ends. To keep the bulls out of the cows, you do have mistakes, yeah. What we've noticed with the Boron cross Beefmaster, or Beefmaster cross Boron, is that the animals get very big.
Oh.
So what we call a terminal cross is you would cross a Boron or a Beefmaster, and you'd get a very big animal. So you've got to make sure, if you want to breed with the cows, you've got to make sure that your nutrition is top notch. Yeah. But for the feed pens, an excellent cross.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. An excellent cross, yeah. The Nkoni, the 3 Nkoni that you see behind there are actually Boron cross Nkoni.
Okay.
And we just trying it. So those are Boron cross Nkoni. And
the performance is satisfactory?
Yes, the performance is satisfactory. The heifers lasted very well through their first winter. You look at their shine and look at their condition and everything. And the Nkoni lasted very, very well through the first winter. And now we're really looking forward to that 75% Boron, 25% Nkoni.
Okay.
So the mothers are 50-50, and we want to see how these young calves grow out.
Okay.
But we're excitedly waiting to see how they wean, yeah.
Thank you so much, Mark, for that. When we come after the short commercial break, I want us to touch on nutrition, what you are mixing, what you are incorporating to ensure that during the dry periods of Zimbabwe, during the winter season, or as we head towards the rainy season, how are you managing your cattle, as well as looking at what you were doing during the vaccination of the lambskin disease.
Okay.
There you had it, viewers. We're going to go on a short commercial break. But right back with this and more in the third and final segment. Stay tuned. Thank you, farmers, for staying tuned to Agriculture and New Directions, Agribusiness, in support of Vision 2030. We are here in the third and final segment of your program, where we are coming to you from Duneside Farm that is being owned by Mark Hook. Mark, we are here in the third and final segment. Welcome back.
Thank you, Wadza.
Yes. Yeah. Looking at droughts, Mark, I understand that they do have a negative effect or impact or implication on livestock farmers. Your sentiments on that, what would you want to say to those who are watching?
What I'd like to say is we have natural droughts which really affect the south of the country, where that's a natural drought, poor rainfall and everything. And then in the north of the country we actually have, I consider them worse droughts because everything's burnt. Okay. So when all the grass gets burnt and that, the tree leaves also get burnt. And if you watch the cattle this time of the year, October, November, they're actually eating a lot of leaves under the trees. But now we burnt the grass and we burnt the tree leaves. So there's nothing really for them to pick up, which is, like I said, affecting our national fertility, really, really badly affecting our national fertility. But the farmers who are trying to get their 80% calves or weaning every year, it's costing them a lot of money. So this regenerative irrigated pasture has been 6 years we've been working at it. It's cost us a lot of money in the form of irrigation. So we irrigate it for 8 months of the year. As you know, ZES is short and it's expensive, so the ZES costs us a lot of money. We have a team of 8 irrigation men who work with the irrigation. So the irrigation's costing us a lot of money, but we are tying that in with the dairy. But this year we have enough grass to look after our first calves also. Okay. So yeah, the droughts are really costing the farmers a lot of money. If you don't maintain your animals, you saw us milling the wheat straw. Wheat straw is actually of no real value. We're giving it as bulk because all the bulk has been burnt out there. All the roughage has been burnt. The chicken litter that we're mixing it with, that's our protein source. Our wheat straws, it's just lignin. It might be 2% protein. To maintain an animal at the moment, you need between 8 and 10% protein, but that's only 2. Oh. Yeah. And our felt at this time of the year when there's no leaves left, there's only stalks. That's also down at 2% protein, but they might get a little bit of green around, so they're not actually getting enough protein to maintain themselves. So you can either buy protein licks, or you can try and make your own feed. We use chicken litter and wheat straw. If it's ideal, you would add some energy to it, which you can you can put molasses onto your wheat straw. So when you're doing your chicken litter, it would be ideal to add some more energy into it. So we are not putting the energy in, but we are watching the condition of the animals all the time. So that's what I'd advise some farmers. Either you go and buy a protein lick for winter and then a phosphate lick for summer, because our Zimbabwe soils, or whole of southern Africa, are short of phosphate in their soils. Oh. So, and therefore we're short of phosphates in our grasses. So a phosphate lick for summer and a protein lick for winter.
Now, Mark, it happens today you were vaccinating for the lambskin disease. Just a brief rundown of what you were doing, the periods that you normally do it, and just a brief synopsis of what was happening.
In January we basically do nothing.
Okay.
But around about May, when we want to start feeding chicken litter, in about May we vaccinate the whole herd for what they call Prondistar 3-in-1. Okay. So the 3-in-1 covers your botulism, which you can get from your chicken litter. So 3-in-1 covers your botulism, your black leg and your anthrax. Okay, so that's what we do around about May. Also in May, when we do our weaning, all the weaner heifers need to be vaccinated for contagious abortion. It's actually a statutory instrument. If you get contagious abortion in your herd, you're meant to report it because it affects fertility very badly. So your contagious abortion, you've got to vaccinate between 4 and 8 months.
Okay.
And that's why we have bulling seasons, to make management a lot easier.
I'm going to have to cut you short.
Okay.
I'm going to bring in one of your employees, Mkoma Friday, to carry on further about the discussion of vaccination. Pari zvino ndina Mkoma Friday vari kushanda ku-livestock session pano paDunside Farm. Mkoma Friday ndokuchingamidzai pachirongwa.
Tinokutendai zvenyu.
Ndaona muri kuvaccinata lamb skin disease paya. Chii chachichitika process yacho? Ndanichona mombe dzichipinda mobaira dzozoita sei? Process yacho chii chamamuchita paya?
Kana tichivaccinata lamb skin disease sezvatanga tichiita, chekutanga tinotanga tadzidhibha dzobva dzaenda pascale. Tinofanira kunge tichipima mombe dzedu pamwedzi woga woga kuti tione kuti nekuda kwekuti hakuna mafuro, saka tinodzipima. Tinowana nekudzipima kuti tione kuti dzikukwira here makgs kana kuti dziri kudzikira. Panguva imwe cheteyo tinobva tashanda rimwe basa rekuvaccinata.
Mamuchishandisa mushonga unonzi chii uye mupimo wenyu wanga wakamira sei?
Mushonga watanga tikushandisa unonzi lamb skin vaccine. Tinoverenga pachipepa ipapo pamushonga wacho zvatinofanira kunge tichishandisa pakubaya. Tanga tichibaya 2 mils pasi peganda.
Kuisa Jackson pasi peganda. Now program yenyu yakamirawo sei yekuvaccinata kana madipping schedules enyu? Zvakamira sei maschedules enyu panapa?
Pakudhibha mombe kunyanya tinodhibha svondo roga roga. Tinodhibha svondo roga roga. Tine mombe dzakati wande, tinoti imwe neimwe pazuva rimwe nerimwe rine zvikwata nezvikwata zvinenge zvichiuya kuzodhibha.
Kuti nhasi kuri kupinda chikwata ichi Monday, Tuesday chimwe chikwata, Wednesday chimwe chikwata.
Ichokwadi. Pane zvekuvaccinata, tine nguva yatinovaccinata kunyanya muAugust. Ndo patinotanga kuita zvekuvaccinata kunyanya lamb skin. Lamb skin kunoku kunzvimbo kwedu kunoku yakanyanyisa nekuda kwekuti hakuna mapaddocks kubva kune vatinoganhurana nawo. Mombe dzinongopota dzinongosangana, saka tinofanira kutoti tidzivirire lamb skin kunyanya. Tichipendera chirongwa Mkoma Friday, zvamadzidzawo pabasa renyu, zvamungakurudzira kune vamwe vari kutotarisira ndira kutangawo zvemombe izvozvi, mashoko enyu ekurudziro kune vari kuda kupinda munyaya dzekuchengeta mombe, zvamungangotaura muchidimbu tichivhara zvedu? Inini ndinoti kune vari kuda kuti vange vachichengeta mombe, ndinovakurudzira kuti chekutanga ngatisawanike nekupisa masango anoita kuti mafuro emombe azowanika achipera. Taakuzobvisa mari muhomwe tase kutenga feed. Saka ndo chikurukuru kunyanya. Ndatenda zvangu.
Thank you so much, Mkoma Friday. On that note, we have come to the end of this week's edition, where we are coming to you from Dunside Farm in Mashonaland West, Ward 30, Zimba North constituency, where we're joined by Mark Hook, the owner of Dunside Farm here, where he's undertaking livestock production as a business, amongst other ventures. From me, your host of the name, and I'm also on Instagram, is at Wadzi110, and the crew behind the scenes. Have yourselves a fabulous evening. Thank you for watching.